Hey, how's it going? My name is Dennis Demirjola. Today I'm going to be talking about my choice pick for Pakistan. Um, I went with Jaubi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that one correctly, but they're like their music blew my mind. I didn't see them. I actually don't know how I even found out about them. This group is has become one of my favorite active bands because the music that they put out debuted around 2021, and their second solo album, came out last year. So I consider them an active new group that I'm going to keep my eyes on. Uh, I'll be honest, I'm not really a fan of any particular group. Like, I can't really say I'm keeping up with any of them, except for two groups, one of which is the group I picked for China, which is Omnipotent Youth Society, and this one, Jaubi. So today I'm going to be talking about their debut album, Nafs at Peace. Um, there's a lot to say about this group, and I think it really overlaps with my taste in music, my pre-existing taste in music. Um, they've been described to be a mix, like a fusion. Once again, I like the fusion of different genres of music. I like the fusion of different cultures. I think it bodes to make something new. It's always something new that you can learn by combining, mixing different cultures, different sounds. Um, so this group has been described to be a fusion of Hindustani classical music and spiritual jazz. Spiritual jazz being something similar to "A Love Supreme" by John Coltrane or "Karma" by Pharoah Sanders. Um, and right off the bat, those two albums, just to be in the same realm as those two albums, is a big deal because when you think about spiritual jazz, sometimes it's a little too, out in the atmosphere, with those free jazz, um, with those free jazz genre of music, and that is just too out there. I can't really digest it. Honestly, I can't stand it. And I know John Coltrane went that direction. I know people like Ornette Coleman were also in the free jazz movement, and it's just too much noise, and it's not grounded at all. There's no groove. So this album does a good job of transcending you, the listener, without leaving you too far from the ground. And I think that's important because otherwise you don't really you get lost way too easily. And in this album, you get lost within yourself. And I think that's two different feelings. So a little bit of background: Jaubi, a group formed in Lahore, Punjab, Pakistan. Punjab being a province that borders India, proves to have a lot of exchange in the culture. Like I said, this band has been described to be a fusion of Hindustani classical music fused with American spiritual jazz music. And actually, the first song on this album is a sort of homage to John Coltrane. Um, what song was that again? The first song is described to be a dua, prayer to John Coltrane. And something about, uh, when we talk about jazz, a lot of it is, oh, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, or like a lot of people are saying like jazz is dead. I mean, Nas said hip hop was dying. People say jazz is dead. A lot of people are saying that genres had their heyday and now they're long gone. I disagree. I think albums like these, artists like these, really show that it hasn't died at all. I think a lot of the greats are dead, which kind of hurts because you think, you had Led Zeppelin, and a lot of their members are still alive for rock. A lot of hip hop artists still have their legends. You got Andre 3000 still alive, Nas is still alive, and you think, okay, well, hip hop can't be completely dead because the legends are still alive. Okay, well, even though whether the greats are alive or past, uh, what's important is that the spirit of the genre is still alive, and I think it very well is conveyed through this album. Um, and it's not just this album alone. I will highlight. Here it is. I will highlight that this 2024 album, um, A Sound of Heart. I'm sorry, A Sound Heart is also very, very excellent. I do prefer Nafs at Peace, though. I thought it was more cohesive um, altogether. I do want to talk about some of the concepts that, or some of the themes in this album, Nafs at Peace. Some elements of this album aren't so much musical as much as they are perhaps aesthetic or aesthetic and thematic, right? You can appreciate the idea of an album or the presentation of an album. For example, with this cover, this cover is actually a this cover is a picture of the lead band member's mother, which gives it this sort of humility, a very earthy feel just before you even listen to the music. So, and then on the back, it's somebody in prayer, which again is it creates this very humble feel, very down to earth feel, and very also contributes to the spirituality of this album. So, the music itself, I really like the inclusion of tablas. I really like the inclusion of tablas. Rhythmically, it's very fast paced, and I don't know. It's something about the tabla that just has such a unique sound. You can recognize it right away, even if it's like even if it's an instrument you're not listening to or hearing very often. From a percussion standpoint, I think most people can't really tell, oh, that's a snare, oh, that's the bass. I feel like the tabla has a very unique sound that you can distinguish very quickly with little exposure to it. So, me personally, I really enjoy the inclusion of that. There are other instruments that aren't particularly Western, more Eastern instruments, and I'm not familiar with them as much. Something called the sarangi, and I think that's the string instrument that plays throughout the album, and it sounds awesome for sure. It's simply not one that I've been familiar with or exposed to previously. Actually, this might be the first album I've ever heard a sarangi being played. That's all I have to say about this album. I'm gonna play a little bit of it right now. Okay, yeah, so I hope you check it out. And now I'm gonna move on to a discussion with a friend, see what they think about the album. Okay, I'd like to welcome my guest and have them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Laiba. I'm Pakistani, and I'm reviewing Nafs at Peace.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
So tell me, I mean, this one might be obvious, but unless you have a different reason, why did you
hmm
pick Pakistan
hmm
as the country you wanted to review?
Yeah. So, well, one, I'm Pakistani. That's one. Second, um, I don't really listen to a lot of Pakistani music, and I don't know if it's because there just isn't like I know there's a lot out there, but like I don't really have that exposure to it. So if I have a chance to listen to music that's like purely Pakistani, I would love that opportunity because a lot of the music, the Desi music that I listen to, it's more Bollywood. So obviously that's Indian. And there are some Pakistani singers like Atif Aslam who come in and they also sing for Bollywood, but it's always like a mesh, right? But I haven't listened to a lot of just purely Pakistani music or stuff, something that my grandmother or my mom grew up listening to. I don't have a lot of exposure to that kind of music.
Hmm.
So that's why I like Pakistan.
Well, I know the so when I was deciding which artists to use for Pakistan, initially I had something from like the 90s. It was like Sufi rock,
Mhm.
a group called Janoon. But then I don't know if you're familiar with this artist, but this person is very famous in the Pakistani world. I'm trying to remember the name. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
I do know him, yes.
Yeah, so that's who I was. So it was like Junoon, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll do Ali Khan.
Mhm.
And then I decided on Jaubi, which
Mhm.
is a jazz group in Punjab, Pakistan. And so when you talk about, the exchange of culture with India and Pakistan, you have this region in Pakistan, Punjab, which borders India. So this album has a lot of overlap in terms of culture, but I'm wondering what were your impressions of this album? It's more
Yeah.
contemporary too. So, yeah, so tell me about that.
Yeah. So I did like a little like I read the little Spotify background. And actually like my family's from a smaller kind of area right outside Islamabad. So I don't really have a lot of connections to Punjab or Lahore or areas like that. But um this album is a lot different than what I would usually listen to. So just to give you an example of like Desi music, so there's one Pakistani song that I really like. It's a little more modern, I would say. It's called Basuri. Um, I forgot the meaning of it. I think it means like no worries or something like that. But if you have a chance, that's a great song to listen to. It's by Coke Studio. I don't know if you've heard of Coke Studio. It's the soda company. They just make
Oh, you talking
yes,
about Coca-Cola?
yes, Coke.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know why, but there's just a lot of Desi music that comes out of Coke Studio. It's like this whole thing on YouTube, but it's one of those songs. Um,
That's why they call it soda pop. Am I right? We'll cut,
anyways,
we'll cut that. We'll cut that.
okay. Anyways, so this is a lot different than the other Desi music I listen to. First of all, I was waiting for the lyrics and just like never showed up. And
They
so,
have vocalists, like they have in the credits section vocalists, but I also don't remember anybody singing.
no, there wasn't. Yeah. Um, of the songs I listened to, actually I listened to the whole thing, but of
Sure.
the seven songs, Insia and Zari, those stood out to me. They felt most like Pakistan. I haven't been to Pakistan in a while, but I have memories. So it brought back some memories of Pakistan. I could put this music over the background of my memories and like just play Pakistan. Um, I felt most connected with those songs. The song Straight Path, that stood out to me as the most different in the album. It felt more different than the other songs, and I think I felt like there was some Asian influence there, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, that kind of stood out to me as like, just a little bit different than the rest of the album. Um, and yeah, I liked Insia a lot. That was my favorite song of the album. And then Zari also, I felt that connection back to Pakistan as well.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, Jaubi is a new group. Uh, this album came out in 21, I think, and then they had
Yes.
another one in 2024. This group is actually one of my favorite modern groups that I'm keeping my eyes on. The only other one being a band from China, and they
put out albums very infrequently. So, um, but out of the two bands that I'm keeping tabs on,
Mhm.
Jaubi's one of them.
Mhm.
Uh, but is there anything else that you wanted to share about the album?
The album. Well, I thought it was interesting that I don't know, this might just be a me thing that they had English titles.
Hmm.
I always find that really interesting, especially when Bollywood, they in more recent years they've tried to put English into their songs or they'll have like just English things. Sometimes it just sounds out of place to me and I don't generally like that. Um, but I think because they are a newer group, it makes a little more sense that they do have English in their titles. And it's not like, they're singing and then rapping and then all of a sudden there's like English because
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what happened in Bollywood, which is
right.
really off-putting to me. But yeah, I just thought that was like just interesting how they had um especially in the title, it's a mix of English and Urdu. So it's kind of like a way to appeal, to English speakers as well. Other because some of these titles are just completely in Urdu, but then if you see things in English, it's a little more inviting, I would say. Like if I didn't know how to speak Urdu, I think the songs I would go for are the ones that are titled in English. But that's always just something I always caught on in Bollywood and other language songs when they just throw random English in there because it's just really jarring and just out of nowhere.
Right.
Um, but yeah, there's no lyrics in this, so I can't say the same, but I do like how there's like a mix, especially
Yeah.
because it makes more sense if it's a modern group that there's a mix of things in there.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this.
Mhm.
I appreciate you as a guest. Now I have to do a little outro. So,
Okay.
all right. Thanks for watching. I don't care if you like, comment, or subscribe. I just hope that you enjoyed the video. All right. Take care, everybody.